You're not saying you think Republicans are gonna stop it?
I don't think Donald Trump wants another election. You think for a second I have 24 Trump 2028 hats. His folks keep sending me.
Gavin Newsom 2028 presidential campaign. He's grandstanding and making a clown of himself because he wants national attention. He tried the moderate thing for a month and realized it wasn't raising him any funds. So
picture this. Gavin Newsom, California's self-crowned golden boy with hair shinier than a luxury shampoo ad, just got demolished by Lindy Lee, and it was absolutely savage. Imagine a political roast gone nuclear, with facts flying faster than his crashing approval ratings. This wasn't just a mild jab. It was a career-threatening explosion that left everyone wondering if his stylist also offers crisis counseling. Get ready, because Lindy didn't simply call him out. She tore through his polished image like a hurricane ripping down a billboard, leaving him frantically trying to hit delete before the chaos went viral.
Trump crusader, because he realizes that it helps him with his coffers and his fundraising. So that's why he's on a tear, and he's a complete hypocrite. And I just saw that California now leads the nation in homelessness and unemployment. Maybe he should focus on that.
This is a guy who retweeted himself on Mount Rushmore. This is a guy who retweeted himself, dare I say, as Pope.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's hawking a Trump Bible. This is a guy who's out there selling perfume and with one of the great grifts, a coin.
But I want to get to the Trump is not hot. So
this is a guy who has merchandise.
Gavin Newsom has always walked around like a magazine cover come to life. Every strand of hair sculpted, every grin rehearsed, every sleeve rolled up as if he's modeling for a political fashion shoot. He's the walking definition of a luxury brand ad, pretending charisma alone can fix a collapsing state. Those gleaming teeth and choreographed gestures make him look like someone built for the spotlight, not the struggle. You can almost see him standing before a mirror before every speech, perfecting that sincere shrug and polishing that smirk that practically whispers, future president.
He tried to be a moderate for about a month. I think it was April,
when May. He started his podcast?
Exactly. He started his podcast. He had Charlie Kirk on. He tried the moderate shtick. Realized that it didn't get him the donations that he wanted. And then he was like, wait a minute. Being an anti-Trump crusader actually gets me money. I want people to be aware that a lot of what politicians say on TV, on social media every day is to get the coffers, to get money rolling into the coffers, to get their fundraising machine.
If you're enjoying this takedown, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Now, here's the truth behind those glossy covers. They shine bright until the surface cracks, revealing cheap cardboard underneath. That's exactly when Lindy Lee stormed in, not with a gentle nudge, but with a full-force flamethrower. And honestly, what could possibly shake a man who's survived wildfires, blackouts, and San Francisco's brunch crowd all in one political lifetime? Turns out, it's being called out by someone who refuses to be fooled by his Hollywood governor performance.
I do want to say that $1 billion in 100 days is not just run of the mill. This is astounding. And I have a duty of care to my donors who gave millions of dollars, and it wasn't easy for them to give. Some of them were paying in installments. It was a sacrifice for them. They looked for ways to give. So, people gave their hearts and souls to the campaign. They deserve a serious accounting to see why we were told that she was close or even winning in some of the swing states, but we lost all 7.
What did they say? We heard on the podcast, but what did they say on this call? Did they accept any blame? Did they sort of talk about mistakes that were made?
No.
While Gavin was busy rehearsing his presidential persona and perfecting those dramatic hair flips, Lindy Lee arrived armed with proof so explosive it made California's blackouts look like cozy candlelight dinners. But let's rewind a bit. Newsom's rise has always been built on illusion. He doesn't just enter a room. He glides in like the star of an elite cologne ad, the kind that makes everyone subconsciously check their wallets. His entire act thrives on the fantasy of the California dream, with him posing as the sun-kissed savior barely keeping that dream alive.
But not only did Gavin Newsom lie, he was the biggest liar. He was the one, and I was there. He was the one in the spin room lying to the entire world on the night of the debate, saying it was just a cold, nothing to see here, move along. But he is such a congenital liar.
Reality doesn't match Gavin's glossy brochure anymore. Homelessness is exploding like someone forgot to turn off the burner, taxes are steep enough to make Elon Musk weep into his fortune, and businesses are fleeing the state faster than contestants from a doomed reality show. Yet somehow Gavin keeps spinning it all as progress. It's almost impressive, like watching a magician pull scarves from a hat while ignoring the elephant trampling through the crowd. The cheers kept coming until Lindy Lee crashed the stage, shouting, "That's not a rabbit, it's a rat in a tuxedo." And who is Lindy Lee? Not some random critic. She's sharp, fearless, and ruthless enough to slice through Gavin's glossy facade like cheap birthday cake. When she speaks, people listen. And this time she didn't just toss shade, she cut the power. Her attack wasn't mere drama. It was precise humiliation. She exposed his failures no amount of political gloss could disguise. Take homelessness. Billions wasted, yet the tents multiply like bad headlines. Lee nailed it. Throwing money without accountability isn't leadership. It's chaos wearing compassion's mask. For a man who brags about fixing things, hearing he can't even manage sidewalks without tents sprouting must sting like salt on an open wound.
Instead of focusing his time on this complete waste of taxpayer money, he has no agenda items. He has nothing positive to offer the American people. The only thing he cares about is himself. Everything is about him. And even Democrats understand this guy is truly fake. He's if you look up snake oil salesman in the dictionary, you would see his face right next to the definition.
I wasn't sure if it was going to be snake oil or hair grease or hair product, but you never know.
Actually,
probably both.
California's business escape has turned into a full-blown exodus. Once the golden land of innovation, where tech giants created apps to deliver coffee art straight to your door, it's now a freeway of CEOs speeding their Teslas to Texas faster than you can whisper, "no income tax." And Lindy Lee made sure everyone across the nation noticed. When billion-dollar companies start swapping palm trees for barbecue smoke, you know California's dream has gone from cinematic to tragic. But Lee didn't stop there. She aimed straight for Gavin's biggest weakness, hypocrisy and ego. She revealed how he's more obsessed with filming his presidential highlight reel than fixing the chaos he already governs. To him, California isn't a state. It's a stage rehearsal for his next act, where every disaster becomes another performance. Meanwhile, everyday people, the real audience, are wondering why their rent costs more than a luxury car payment. That's where the real burn hit. Gavin's image as the untouchable, cool kid of politics, gone. Lee scorched that illusion to ash, turning him from future president into a governor barely holding his own backyard together. She stripped away the glitz and revealed not a bold leader, but a man who looks like a landlord promising once again to fix it next week.
What drives you crazy? That people still speculate that you're waiting in the wings to run for president? I know it's not going to happen. You know it's not going to happen. But what do you think is fueling that speculation?
I don't know. I don't think much anymore. And I'm so proud of the president and the incredible job he did. Didn't surprise me at all. And I know it didn't surprise you. I really believe that. I said to my friend the other day, I said, you know, on this age, and we can get into debates around fitness. Look, I'd rather have 80 years behind me than those 88 federal criminal counts in front of me. And so I feel very good about Joe Biden's prospects.
Lindy Lee's brilliance was in her precision. It wasn't some chaotic TV shouting match. It was sharp, calm, and devastatingly real. That's exactly what made it hurt the most. When someone says the emperor has no clothes, it's humiliating. But when someone points out the entire palace is falling apart, rats and all, the illusion collapses instantly. The reactions hit like waves. The media smelled blood, and even Gavin's most loyal fans began questioning his golden glow. Nothing shatters a carefully scripted persona faster than raw, undeniable truth. And Lindy delivered it like a surgeon. She didn't just reveal his failures, she made his entire image look like a five-star resort at hiding a pest problem. The aftermath was brutal. Frustrated Californians, buried under rent hikes, power bills, and endless commutes, finally had someone saying what they'd been thinking all along. Maybe Gavin isn't the golden hero he pretends to be. Maybe he's just a glossy figurehead running a state that's collapsing behind the curtain. And for a man rumored to be eyeing the White House, being unmasked as a brand model with a failing product is pure nightmare fuel.
He mentions 4 machinations that he plans to use in order to circumvent Trump, or in his words, Trump-proof democracy. And I just want to say, before I go into the 4 different measures, he is basically saying the American people cannot be trusted to make the right decision. Right. So I have to engage in these really slimy and subversive measures to undermine the will of the American people.
Here's the thing. People can forgive almost anything in politics. Scandals, bad policies, even total disasters. But hypocrisy, that's the one sin no one lets slide. And Lindy Lee blew up Gavin's hypocrisy like fireworks on opening night. While he parades around as America's future savior, his own state is bleeding people, money, and hope every single day. That contrast doesn't just bruise his ego. It demolishes the fantasy he's been selling for years. Suddenly, Gavin isn't the confident frontrunner anymore. He's the guy spinning in circles, trapped in the chaos he created. And once those cracks show, no charm or hair gel can cover them. Then came the spark. Lindy's words spread like wildfire. Gavin's used to controlling the story, polishing every headline, but this time, the narrative escaped him. When Lindy lit the match, the smoke filled every corner, and Gavin looked like a firefighter who forgot the hose. The embarrassment deepened when the media, once his loyal fan club, flipped the script. The same reporters who praised his brilliance suddenly dropped the shine and started digging into the dirt he'd buried beneath the gloss.
If you're not going to be a good person, can you please not be a pathological liar at the very least?
He's unable to do that. They're conjoined.
I want to say, so he is out there doing a 180 on trans, but he's been on the forefront of trans advocacy all these years. Are you treating us like, why are you treating us like idiots or that we were born yesterday? We remember distinctly, he was one of the most ardent trans warriors. Not only that, he has the gumption to rewrite history and say that he knew all along that Biden's brain was melting.
Lindy Lee's honesty hit like a hammer wrapped in truth. Her words weren't spin or strategy. They were the cold, visible realities Californians face every single day. Homelessness isn't a statistic. It's tents crowding sidewalks, needles littering parks, and tourists wandering through what feels like a post-apocalyptic movie set instead of the California dream. So when Lee laid it all out, the press couldn't turn away. And nothing excites the media more than fresh blood in the water, especially when it's dripping from someone they once adored. Overnight, the headlines stopped praising Gavin's perfect hair and polished speeches. Suddenly, every outlet zoomed in on the chaos hiding behind that cologne-scented confidence. For a man addicted to admiration, that was devastating. But the real blow came from Californians themselves. For years, Gavin downplayed every crisis. Wildfires were manageable, homelessness was progress, and blackouts were romantic. But people are done with fairy tales. You can only sell sacrifice for so long before citizens realize they're the ones paying, while their governor rehearses his next big monologue for national TV.
Go through the force.
His first thing is a special election.
What does that mean?
A special session of the state legislature. He would just call them back and have them do a lightning round of Trump-proof measures that will circumvent his immigration enforcement and other, for example, the deployment of the National Guard. Basically, Trump-proof anything.
He lost that in court.
But he doesn't have that power.
He lost.
He is lying. He's just saying whatever. As I said before, he's just saying whatever he thinks his audience wants to hear. He's not something.
Lindy Lee gave Californians the voice they'd been waiting for. She didn't uncover deep secrets. She just shouted the truth louder than Gavin's entire PR machine ever dared. Suddenly, coffee shops, dinner tables, and social media were buzzing with one brutal question. If this guy can't handle California, how can he possibly run the whole country? It's like watching a chef burn toast and then announce he's ready for a Michelin kitchen. Then came the insiders, the same smiling allies who turn into vultures the second they smell weakness. Gavin's been hyped for years as the next big thing, the Hollywood-polished future president, but Lindy's takedown shattered that myth into glittering dust. When your state is losing people, businesses, and patience, and your speeches sound more like Instagram captions than leadership, no one's buying it anymore. And the humiliation stung even more because of who dealt the blow. If it had come from a rival, he could have brushed it off. If it came from the press, he'd scream bias. But from Lindy Lee, it was a sucker punch from the last person anyone expected. Sudden, ruthless, and wildly satisfying for the audience that once cheered him on.
But Gavin Newsom was on the front lines of defending Biden. He wasn't just a defender and champion of Biden. He was the strongest. He debated DeSantis on the national stage. He went out of his way to, frankly, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He lied to the American people about the fitness of the president. He went out there again and again and said he was fine. Meanwhile, people like me were punished.
Of course, Gavin tried his usual escape routine: smile, spin, and charm his way out of chaos. But here's the problem. When the failures are staring people in the face, charm fades fast. He can brag about tackling homelessness, but the tents outside Whole Foods tell a different story. He can boast about innovation, but everyone knows friends loading up U-Hauls bound for Nevada. He can dream about the White House, but most wonder if he's even fit to run a neighborhood watch. That's why Lindy Lee's takedown hit so hard. It exposed the canyon-sized gap between Gavin's ambitions and his actual results. He wants to be president, yet runs California like a messy group project. He calls himself a visionary, but his vision doesn't seem to include affordable housing or safe streets. He loves being the Democratic golden boy, but lately, he's starting to look more like fool's gold, shiny from afar, but hollow up close. And the worst part? This embarrassment isn't fading anytime soon. Most scandals disappear, but Lee's strike hit a nerve. The daily frustration people feel every single day. You can't charm your way out of reality. Californians don't need talking points. They're living the proof, and it's painfully permanent.
Aren't suggestions, and laws aren't optional. If you cannot handle your own state, the President of the United States has every right to come in. And right now, Gavin Newsom is treating public safety, he's treating our lives and our treasure as his plaything for his presidential campaign. His priority isn't the safety and the well-being of the American people. It's his own political preservation. He's positioning himself, trying to have it both ways, trying to pretend that he's all for illegal aliens, and then also that he's moderate. You cannot have it both ways.
So where does that leave Gavin now, trapped under the harshest spotlight of his entire career? The man who once strutted around like the heir to the Democratic throne now looks shaken, exposed, and painfully unsure. His rivals smell blood, his allies are stepping back, and every new interview feels like a replay of his downfall. People aren't just noticing the grin and the hair anymore. They're hearing Lindy Lee's words echo in their heads, reminding them that behind all that polish stands a man ruling over chaos. And Gavin feels it. That's the real sting. He can sense the image slipping, the illusion collapsing, and the confidence breaking apart. The humiliation isn't just public, it's deeply personal. Because when your entire career depends on being untouchable, nothing destroys you faster than someone proving you're not just touchable, you're completely exposed.